she helps people. I do the same thing. I just do it on the ground.
And you've been with Oprah for a long time. And I think that relationships are difficult.
Reason why is because they gathered so much evidence. Was supposedly they gathered so many videos and laptops and also electronic devices.
Friend in your head, Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, best friend forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Her man, Stedman Graham, wrote a book called Identity Leadership.
Okay.
And in the book, he reveals some of his secrets about the 30-year relationship he's had with Oprah.
Oh, this is the funniest thing, guys. You all know Stedman is really big.
You mentioned, that you've been with Oprah for a long time now.
I met a long time ago. She just says this sometime.
Girl, let me spill the tea that's got everyone talking. You know Oprah, right? The queen of daytime TV who's been living her best life forever. Well, honey, her world just got flipped upside down, and it's all thanks to her man. Stedman Graham, the guy who's been by Oprah's side for decades, has always kept a low profile, standing in the background and letting her shine. But something's changed, and the streets are buzzing. Word is, Stedman finally spoke up, and what he said has Oprah shook to her core. Ready for the juiciest gossip that's making waves? You won't believe what came out of his mouth. It's going to leave you speechless.
Winfrey.
Yeah, best friend forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Her man, Stedman Graham, wrote a book called Identity Leadership.
Okay.
And in the book, he reveals some of his secrets about the 30-year relationship he's had with Oprah.
All right.
And in Hollywood, a 30-year relationship, that's like a couple of lifetimes.
They're not married.
Especially with someone as powerful as Oprah.
Yes.
So he goes on to say, the thing about our relationship is I want the best for her. So I'm dedicated to her happiness. So that's great for her, and I want her to be the best she can possibly be, and she's done a pretty good job of doing it.
You hear that, Frank? You hear that? That's how you're supposed to talk to a significant other or a spouse. You want what's best for her. You want her to be happy.
That is wonderful, Stedman, but this is so passive-aggressive because then he goes on to say this. For me, I've been able to find my own happiness. Like, nobody's helping him find his happiness. He's helping Oprah find all hers. He's finding his own happiness.
You're reading into that too much.
No. He goes on. For me, I've been able to find my own happiness and develop my own skills, my own talents, my own abilities, and I'm satisfied with that. So the combination, when you have a good partner that's able to self-actualize their potential and you're able to self-actualize yours, 1 and 1 equals about 6. The only thing you don't see there are the tears on the paper.
It sounds like Oprah's absence made him stronger.
Or maybe to make him happy, she gets home from her powerful day and looks at him and goes, "You get a BJ."
Seriously heating up right now, so imagine this. Oprah's longtime partner, who's been tight-lipped for ages, suddenly decides to spill everything on live TV. Can you even believe it? The guy who's been quieter than a church mouse all these years just opens up. Word is he showed up on a late-night talk show, looking all sharp and mysterious. The host starts with the usual questions about his life with Oprah, nothing special at first. But then things took a surprising turn. This guy, calm as can be, starts sharing how living with Oprah isn't all it's cracked up to be. He says it's like living in a circus 24/7. Imagine that. He goes on to explain how being with someone constantly in the spotlight isn't easy, and sometimes he feels like just a prop in her show. But it gets even better. He talks about how Oprah is always working, always on her phone, always planning her next big move. He says, "I love her, but sometimes I wonder if she even notices I'm here. I was clutching my pearls, honey."
Well, it's knowing how it can empower you and your ideas and where you're going and who you want to become, and not be stuck in just thinking that you're all of that. You know, and you're not, because once you stop playing ball, really not that many people care.
Right.
So you got to make it work for you, and that's what social media should be doing for everybody, is making it work for you, as opposed to, again, the reverse.
So you also wrote, Teens Can Make It Happen, 9 Steps to Success. How does the concept of identity differ for this younger demographic?
Well, that's a great question. Again, I go back to how we learn. I'm trying to get a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old young person to understand they have 80 years left. And if they could take those 80 years and learn how to learn, learn how to apply everything to what they love and what they're passionate about, what's meaningful in their life, that they really have an opportunity to improve. I mean, you're going to really be successful if you're a better person today than you were yesterday, and you just keep growing, and you're learning, and you're a lifelong learner, and you're a reader. You keep reading all the time, and you're focusing on setting goals, and you understand the process of success and how it works, and you're focusing on what you love. And you tie that to business, and you tie that to social media, and you tie that to all those things that will empower you based on what's possible for you, and you have access to a global marketplace. And everything you learn from now on, you can begin to organize it through a cognitive ability to be able to download content that's relevant to your talents, to your skills, and to your passion. If I can get you to understand that at 10 or 11, man, that's a pretty good process for building and designing your own future.
Yeah, I mean, changing the trajectory of someone's life at that age, I mean, you can't put a price on that. I mean, it's like you said, it changes them forever and can benefit them greatly.
Yeah, and the process works, especially for, some athletes who are young. They start at what, 6, 5, and 4, and they learn the process of how it works.
Yeah.
And by the time they get 11 or 12, they're like killing them.
Yeah.
And that's when so it's the same process for me as trying to get young people to understand their empowerment at an early age.
So similar question to sports, these young people now, I mean, I couldn't imagine kind of growing up with social media the way it is now back when I was a kid or a teen. Kind of similar question that we did for the athletes. How do these young people deal with social media when they can't necessarily like start a business or use it for work?
Well, I think they have to. It's tough. It's a very difficult thing when you're dealing with social media and you don't know what it does, or the purpose of it, or how it affects you, and the algorithms are set up and designed to hook you, and all of that. So I think you just have to. Boy, hopefully you have good parents who understand, how to monitor some of that. But again, it is a valuable tool because it has so much information. Again, I go back to not everybody's going to get this, but making sure you understand who you are so you can apply the information to your development and create something that you can control as opposed to it controlling you. And so that's an awareness process, That's raising people's consciousness about that, which we're trying to do in schools. And in students we do. I mean, we have a program in Mississippi that we're working on, and man, those young people they're in STEM programs, and they're smart. And boy, to be able to eliminate all the labels that they have to deal with, I mean, through this process of identity and understanding who you are, it's just really so rewarding to see them, the light bulb go off, and not be defined by their parents and not be defined by their circumstances, which can be very difficult for them sometimes.
Yeah, and that kind of answers the second question as well about, how do you educate parents and educators in order to help children, think more about identity versus. Well,
you have to have curriculum, and so you have to have the books and the content, the materials, and everything else. And then we set it up as a train-the-trainer program.
So there are projects in there that you're doing, and
yeah. It's the execution of this work that you spend a lot of time on. How do you actually get it into a system that you can deliver to these schools and organizations, anywhere.
So another great sports kind of reference right here: move without the ball, put your skills and your magic to work for you. The title itself, Move Without the Ball, it signifies being proactive when, the spotlight isn't necessarily on you. Can you share a personal anecdote where you felt you were without the ball and in life, and how you positioned yourself strategically in order to get out of it?
Well, I think when you stop playing, you're, first of all, as a ball player, you're used to people cheering you all the time, and you're spoiled and all of that. And so, man, move without the ball for me it's going into the service, man, and having to clean latrines and, with a toothbrush and all of that, and really getting down and dirty around what life is could be, and what life was at that particular time. So that was Move Without the Ball for me. Move Without the Ball for me was learning business. Move Without the Ball for me was traveling around, seeing the world. And then the beautiful thing about Move Without the Ball is that you know how to move with the ball, but you also know how to move without the ball. And that really has been my life, is learning how to move without the ball. And that without people, clapping and yelling for you because you're making some baskets, but to be able to be good on the court, but also off the court, you're just as good. So that's my hope and dream. I think that's where Kobe was going, He's trying to be just as good off the court as he was on the court in different fields because he wasn't playing anymore before his unfortunate mishap. So I think that's the key for athletes, because the athletes have it. They have the ability to be able to do that. They can process, they're smart, all of that. I don't know if they have the information a lot of times, but certainly they have the wherewithal to make it happen.
And then what's kind of one of the most important ways athletes can maintain a sense of self and maintain a strong identity, while society might only view them through one lens?
Being able to take control of their own development, I would say be a reader, be a learner, try to focus on what you're going to do, not while you're playing, but what you're going to do after you stop playing. Have some game plan. So not just have a game plan for being on the court, being on the field, but have some game plan for when it all ends, which is really the key. So you can leverage, there's a word called leverage. You're leveraging the opportunities that you have while you're playing. So to me, that's very important and critical.
And then, honey, he drops the bombshell. Stedman looks straight into the camera and says, Oprah, and I haven't shared a bedroom in years. Can you even? The entire studio went dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Now, everyone's left wondering, why in the world would Stedman air all this dirty laundry, Is he tired of living in Oprah's shadow? Is he trying to grab the spotlight for himself? Or maybe he's just had enough of keeping secrets and wants to live his truth. Some folks are even saying Stedman has a book coming out, and this is all a ploy for publicity. Others think maybe he and Oprah are on the rocks, and this is his way of getting back at her. But Chile, who knows what's really going on in that man's head? Whatever the reason, one thing's for sure. Stedman isn't holding back anymore. He's out here telling the world that being Oprah's man isn't all private jets and fancy parties. It's like he's finally stepping out of Oprah's shadow and into the spotlight for himself. And you know what? People are eating it up. Social media is going wild. Everyone's talking about it. Stedman has become the hottest celebrity overnight. Who would have thought that quiet, reserved man would be the one to shake up Hollywood? So there you have it, honey. Stedman has gone and opened Pandora's box. And now the whole world is watching to see what happens next. I don't know about you, but I'm on the edge of my seat, waiting to see how Oprah's going to react to all this tea being spilled. I said, get ready. Honey,
Okay, for my success, I have to have process and structure. I have to force myself to do that.
You also have to live in the moment. So everybody watching this wants Stedman to tell us about his Oprah.
Does she snore? You're the only one that knows the answer to that question.
That's exactly not what I was thinking, but that's a good...
Does she snore, Stedman?
Let me just tell you.
No,
come from Kosciuszko, Mississippi.
That's true.
That's been abused as a child.
Right.
A black woman.
Right.
Who's now a billionaire.
Right.
Self-made. Okay. In this country that is socially constructed, not to exactly celebrate your success. Okay. That's a milestone. And to be a woman on top of that.
Right.
And so, this is a person who's been #1 for 25 years. Every book that she put on the show has gone to bestseller. She has her own network. She's from Kosciuszko, Mississippi.
And it was not an easy
And
first
it's not an
20
easy
years.
thing. So, and you talk about someone who has talent, skills, and process, and smart. She's been able to put that together
What is
to
it you
get
think
beyond the labels based on a socially constructed process that tries to keep her down and has kept people down year after year after year after year.
And OWN isn't where it wants to be right now, but I'm not counting her out, and I know neither are you.
No, it's a process. You can't just come in and create an organization or build a company in 6 months.
That's right.
You got to put your voice in it. You got to work on shows. So she'll be fine.
Great to have you here.
As you put in here, progress begins one step at a time.
One step at a time.
So we'll take the first step this morning. Stedman
First
Graham.
step is understand who you
are.
You thought Stedman spilling the tea was wild? Wait till you hear Oprah's reaction. The queen of daytime TV is known for keeping her cool, but honey, this time she went off. Picture this. Oprah's at home, sipping her tea, living her best life when her phone blows up about Stedman's TV confession. At first, she's like, nah, y'all must be tripping. My Stedman would never, but after seeing the clips, the storm hit. The streets are saying Oprah lost it like never before. Sources say she was screaming so loud, the neighbors thought World War Heidi had broken out in her living room. Oprah, usually so collected, was throwing things, cursing, and even threatening to end Stedman's career. It was like all those years of calm exploded in one moment. Some folks say she yelled, after all I've done for him, this is how he repays me, and guy made him, and I can break him. Girl, can you even imagine Oprah saying that? It's like
to be able to source the resources of the world through having a vision bigger than your circumstances, okay? To be able to plan it out, work every single day. You got to be a hard worker, okay? To have a strong value system, right? And to be able to focus on those barriers of success that hold you back, building a team, being able to, again, source content by organizing information. You become a reader and creating a lifestyle around that. So, again, I go back to the power versus the powerless. So how are you going to be empowered so that you, outdistance the 99% of the people where are they going? They're not going anywhere. They're stuck. So, it's really about deprogramming yourself and realize, again, I go back to it's not how the world defines you, it's about how you define yourself and being able to work on yourself as a way to establish a privileged life.
So last social media question, I promise, but I thought this was, very applicable to the book of, you mentioned labels are distorting our view of the world and our place in it. And in today's digital age with the prominence of social media, kind of how can we work to move beyond these imposed labels and cultivate authentic self-representation?
I don't know how you do it unless you have an identity.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it unless you're focusing on what you're doing, which is to find out who you are, working on that every day, right? Because it takes a while, and figure out what you do well, and to do it over and over and over to where you become an expert in your field, so that you can outdistance everybody else who are doing what? What are they doing? They're not going anywhere for the most part because they're stuck in a mindset. And so, again, when you start to change the learning system around where everything becomes relevant to building value, then you're not stuck in that box. You're able to not be defined by the labels or how other people see you, but the only thing that's important, because I use this in my own life, not being defined by labels, and people try to put me in a box, and especially me, and in regards to my relationship. And so what I try to do is not worry about how other people define me, but how I define myself, and that's what's important.
Looks like even Oprah has her breaking point, and Stedman just found it. Some folks are wondering if it's all for show, like maybe Oprah and Stedman cooked this up for attention. But child, if you ask me, this feels way too real. The pain in her voice, the fire in her eyes. You can't fake that. Now, everyone's waiting to see what Oprah's gonna do next. Will she go on TV and spill her own tea? Will she and Stedman have a public showdown? Or will she try to sweep it all under the rug like it never happened? One thing's for sure. This isn't the last we'll hear about this drama. Oprah's reaction has got everyone talking, and Hollywood loves a good scandal. It's like a real...
So speaking of relationships, how do your theories on identity and success apply to couples in relationships where, you can feel comfortable working on your own identity and your own self, but also being a part of a team.
That's beautiful. I mean, you said it. So to be able to be comfortable with yourself, be happy with what you do, doesn't have anything to do with somebody else is doing. So you're not jealous, you're not angry, you're not upset because somebody is, more successful than you or whatever the case may be, because you're happy with yourself. That's what we're talking about.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, I think we can all relate to that, right? I mean, it's like, no matter where you are or who you're with, there's always some sort of, question of, is that person being their authentic self, and do I want to be in this relationship?
And strength being, only the strong survive. That's I always talk about that in my speeches. But you're strong when you're strong. You're not strong because you want to make yourself be strong. You're strong when you do the work. You're strong when you have a vision that you can apply to your life every day. You're strong when you're focusing on what you do well. You're strong when you focus on love. You're strong when you are when you put the 24 hours of work in, and when you're strong when you organize your life. You're strong when you are able to take information and make it relevant to your development. You're strong when you work on your weaknesses. That's when you're strong. You're not strong because you just want to be strong or just because you think you should be stronger than the other person. So you got to earn the right for that.
Then have there been examples of, and have you used kind of your own principles of identity with?
I couldn't do it. There's no way I could do it or deal with some of the issues I've had to deal with throughout my life without following the 9-step success process. Okay, I follow it. I created it for myself. And what I do is I don't worry about how the world defines me or how other people define me. I work on me.
Yeah.
I develop me so that the more I have, the more I can give. I can contribute more because I'm working on me and building value in my own life. So it's the value you want to build in your own life, not waiting for somebody to give you that or having somebody else determine your value. Create your own, build your own opportunities, source your own talents, find out what you do well and work on it and search for it. And then what will happen, you'll develop this process for continuous improvement, and you'll improve and you'll grow and you'll develop and you'll build, and you're pretty much, you're not your circumstances, you are your possibilities because of the work that you put in. It's the work that you do when you work on yourself. So we're just trying to change this around so that you begin to understand the importance of you and how you can begin to build whatever you want based